Phillip Truter, disgraced former chief financial officer of VBS Mutual Bank, has been sentenced to 10 years in jail. 3 will be suspended, so an effective 7. But this is just the beginning of something that is going to play out on a much larger scale on the courts. Somebody who's been following this very closely is Pauli van Wyk, who's an investigative journalist for Scorpio, publishing on the Daily Maverick website. Pauli, welcome and thanks for giving us your time.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
Where does Phillip Truter fit in? And given that he's willing to provide lots and lots of information and evidence, what do you think he knows and has been able to share with investigators?
Phillip Truter was the chief financial officer of VBS Mutual Bank. So he worked closely with the CEO, Shifiwa Matotsi, and the treasurer, Popi Mukudabwani, and the KPMG auditor, Sipho Malaba. He played a central role, and he took some money and loans illegally, and he had a fiduciary role to actually play the sentinel and to say that there are red flags and that there are criminality in the bank, and he didn't. So Truter and his role was absolutely key to what happened. Now, he only received around 5 million rand in loans and in cash. The cash was about 2 million. Now, that is a relatively small amount relating to what the other looters got, which was around 30 million or even 300 million. When we talk about Mr. Shifiwa Matotsi. But we shouldn't allow this relatively small amount to be indicative of the looting that Truter was part of. He was central to the entire situation. He had the fiduciary duty to report what was happening and to report the criminality. And by keeping quiet, he actually played one of the biggest roles in the looting of the bank.
What happens next? Because there are more people headed for court. When and what's likely to ensue? Would this just be the early proceedings, another round of those, or do they start with the real business of the trial soon?
So Peter entered a plea agreement under Section 105A of the Criminal Procedures Act, which means that he pleaded guilty to several charges, including money laundering and fraud. And in return, he will assist the National Prosecuting Authority with evidence and a sworn statement. Now, that is important because, as we said, he was so central to everything that he was literally one of the people that pushed the button and ensured that he broke the banking system. That was how central he was. Now, with every other person that the National Prosecuting Authority will attempt to prosecute, he may have intricate knowledge and he may actually have data and documents. And that is why he's important and why he got the deal. Now, related to his crimes, he would have gotten around 15 years minimum in terms of jail sentence for the fraud and the money laundering. But he only got around 10 because of this plea deal, of which 3 he got sort of off. So effectively will have a 7-year jail sentence. Now, the rest of the people will center around the municipalities, the municipal leg of investigation, the banking executive legs, about Shifiwa Matotsi and the rest, who will appear in court tomorrow again. And then also looking towards the politicians, the ANC and the EFF. So, and Phillip Truter may have information on all of those people.
In terms of the large scale of the VBS investigation, where would you say we're at? Are we at the beginning of the end, at the end of the beginning? I mean, is there a long story still to go, or are these substantial steps forward?
These are substantial steps forward, and you have to take it if you want properly prosecute this, you have to start at the beginning and take it step by step. The investigation has already gone quite far. The Revenue Service has gone far with their investigation. The investigators and the Hawks have gone far with theirs. So the process is quite mature in this stage. Now the prosecutions will follow, and the prosecutions are actually at the beginning stage, where the 8 bankers, the managers, and the auditors were arrested, and some of the executives, and they started with the first arrest on the municipal leg, and we hear continuous indications that further arrests will soon be made in terms of that municipal leg. So we can definitely look forward to more municipalities being aired in court and more people being arrested.
Pauli van Wyk joining us from Daily Maverick. She's an investigative journalist for Scorpio, has followed the VBS story very closely with her latest updates on what happened and the implications of Phillip Truter, being convicted, but also cooperating with the investigation and providing evidence about other people who've been accused. Obviously, we'll follow that story very closely here on 702.
News,
Experts,
analysis,
where things stand
what you need to know. Drive home with John Perlman
on 702.